Hey family, what's going on? For those of you who may come across this and not know who I am, my name is Joseph Reeves. Up until this point, I've been like a rogue social commentator on issues of like pop culture, race, religion, sexuality, which is basically my fancy way of saying I post ratchet shit on Facebook and people seem to pay attention to it and like it. So, with that being said, um, and as some of you who like actually know me from like social media, for some of you who are like actually like family and friends who I've like connected to in like a very real way, you all know because I've shared it that I have been having a very challenging time around just mental health issues, emotional health issues. So I'm just in a very sensitive and precious and tender kind of season in my life to where it is just incredibly important that I be mindful of how I engage social media, how I engage the public market square, to paraphrase and take language from Dr. Cornel West, in regards to things that I discuss and things that I expose myself to. And I just know that I have had to be really intentional about engaging in things that give me joy, engaging in things that are going to challenge me, you, us to like grow and uplift, and to not engage in things that are going to just like vainly trigger me and vainly make me anxious because like I have just enough anxiety issues, have had just enough depression issues to deal with on my own, just kind of like in this particular season that I'm in. So that's why like I've really been silent around like this R. Kelly issue. I've really not engaged it. I've really not said anything about it because I just really feel like I said what I needed to say around that issue. I no longer support R. Kelly. I have divested myself from R. Kelly's music, and it took me a while, just in the spirit of transparency. I supported R. Kelly for years after the allegations began to come out, right? Um, I even watched the initial R. Kelly sex tape and like enjoyed it as porno because when the R. Kelly sex tape, the original one, like kind of like the most famous one came out, I was like this 15, 16-year old boy that had his own fucked up shit around gender and sexuality that I needed to work out. And I didn't realize at that time that I was watching rape and that I was taking place in rape culture. I just thought it was sex. I thought it was taboo sex, but still I thought it was sex. And I definitely kind of like engaged in like trash ideology and like trash thought processes around R. Kelly's victims. I definitely was one of the ones of like, oh, well, they look so grown and oh, where were the parents and kind of like all these other forms of like victim shaming because I was young and like I didn't know better. But thankfully, you know, as a 33 getting ready to be 34-year-old person, I do know better. And like I know that that shit's trash and I know that what that young boy was watching was not sex. What that young boy was watching was rape. Which now brings us to this present moment in time where I have divested also because of the courage of people like Dream Hampton and the women that took part in the surviving R. Kelly documentary, to where it really brought me to a moment of reckoning to where I really had to realize that by continuing to support R. Kelly, even though by that point I had said, oh, well, I just won't buy any future music, but like I'm still going to play 12 play. I'm still going to play I Believe I Can Fly because like they just played such an important part in my life. But because of that documentary, because of the courage of Dream Hampton and because of the courage of those women, mainly like those black women, right, that came forth and really shared and really spoke up, it brought me to a place where, as someone who seeks to identify and live out a feminist and a womanist ethic. As someone who even identifies as a feminine, kind of like my own ways, as someone who is queer, both in my gender and sexuality, I just came to the point where I was just able to realize and accept that by supporting R. Kelly's whole catalog, whether it be past, current, or future, I am supporting someone that specifically like used his music to like seduce and to breed new victims. And that's problematic, that's fucked up, and like that's not okay. Still, I had come to that place, and with like this new announcement of R. Kelly being arrested on federal charges and R. Kelly not being granted bail, I really wasn't going to say anything because once again, I'm just in just a challenging space personally, and that conversation is not something that I wanted to lend myself to. Like I just really don't want to use my bandwidth for that, because engaging in that conversation, I was beginning to find um was just opening me up for triggers and for triggering people in ways that I'm just not trying to be bothered with, right? So I was just going to be silent, because I don't feel bad for him. I don't think that this is a miscarriage of justice, but I don't necessarily like rejoice in this. Um, so that's just really where I am in regard to the whole situation. But I am a music lover, right? And as a music lover, I'm a part of many groups on Facebook, across social media, of fellow music lovers, particularly of like R&B and hip hop and soul music. Um, and someone like recently posted a video of R. Kelly singing Happy People, and like the caption to that post was, great song, even though the artist made some bad personal decisions. And it arrested me, would not let me go, and has not let me go. Because as someone who is black, who shows up in ways to where others recognize me as male, even though I personally identify more as like non-binary, as someone who is queer in my gender and my sexuality, but still I recognize like I show up in like a male body. And because I show up in this male body, it does afford me a certain amount of privilege. So someone who is black, who is male bodied, who is Christian, it is just incredibly important to me that history shows where I stood, not just for me, but also for those who will come after me, also for those who will be my descendants, right? Communally and maybe even biologically, like through me, like actually having like biological children. Anyway, like it's just really important that I document in history so that the record can show where I stood. I have shitty eating habits, right? I do not eat enough vegetables. Um, I do not eat enough fruit. I do not drink enough water. And really, like, my diet is like heavily carbohydrate heavy and like very meat heavy and very much like soda and alcohol heavy. That's me making personal decisions that are not the best decision, right? What R. Kelly has done is not simply him making bad personal decisions or making personal mistakes. Robert Sylvester Kelly has taken his God given gift, demonized it, by using it to abuse and prey upon black women and girls. And he has done it consistently. What Robert Sylvester Kelly, R. Kelly, is a criminal who engages in crime, who engages in illegal activity, and has consistently made the choice to engage in moral and ethical evil. That is not just simply a personal mistake. That is not simply bad decisions. That is a habit. It is a commitment to evil, abuse, predatory behavior that he has consistently made for upwards of 30 years at this point. Be incredibly clear about that. That is more than just a personal mistake. That's more than bad decisions. And yes, I understand that his own personal trauma plays a part in that, but at a certain point, you have to take responsibility for your healing. And your trauma does not give you the right to traumatize other people. And he has been given countless opportunities to confront his trauma and to heal. But he continues to be unrepentant. He continues to be in denial. He continues to consciously choose to be in a reprobate state and to be a sexual abuser and a sexual predator that uses his talent and his gift and his fame to seduce, lure, prey upon, abuse, and imprison Black women and girls. And if you can still defend him, and if you can still engage in the victim shaming that says, oh, where were the parents? Oh, these girls wanted it. What were these girls doing going after him? Oh, these girls were acting so grown. You are either an active abuser or a predator. You are a latent abuser or a predator. Or you are complicit and you support active and latent abusers and predators. And I make this video to let you know that I see you for what you are. And I'm calling you on your shit. You will not be able to live and abide in silence and safety around you. And I'm like incredibly clear, right? Like I'm clear that I'm talking about people that I know. I'm talking about people that I went to school with. I'm talking about people that I went to church with, either in the past or currently. I'm talking about people in my family, right? I'm talking about people that I went to school with. That still does not change the fact that it is wrong and you should not be trusted with children. If you can still find it in a way to vehemently and passionately support this sexual terrorist, this monster, this abuser, this predator. Because this is about the fact that this isn't about R. Kelly being tricked or seduced or trapped. This is about the fact, and I have sisters from Chicago that I know that can attest to this. This is about the fact that this nigga would hang out by high schools and hang out where he knew young women and girls congregated, and he would look for them. He would look to groom them. Was finding girls to look to groom and to seduce and to entrap, even at his first trial for these atrocities. So yeah, I have no tears for this nigga. I have no tears for Bill Cosby. None at all. And I work with people that cape for him like every day. No tears for them. Because they knew what they were doing. And now that Jeff Epstein is being brought to trial, can we please stop this shit about how Bill Cosby was getting ready to buy NBC? They're starting to bring the white boys in, so cut the shit now. Your excuses are falling. So really, that's all I really had to say. That's all I really want to say. I am going to post this to some social media sites. So like, comment, subscribe, share if you can, because I realize that I'm bringing up like a sensitive subject matter, and everybody is not going to be able to engage this, and everybody does not have to engage this, especially if you're a victim or if you're a survivor. But as someone who's just trying to move into the medium in a new way, if you can, like, share, comment, subscribe, it would be appreciated. And I'm going to start trying to do these videos more often. So, see you around.